The big story, of course, has to be the fact that the former president, Jacob Zuma, is now going to be spending the rest of his prison sentence from the comfort of his own home. A lot of people, of course, have questioned the credibility of the medical parole system, and it once again has been thrust into the spotlight. Is the former president being treated differently from other prisoners, or do you take the view that this is the humane thing to do? He is an old man. Clearly, the medical personnel who work for the state have no reason to lie about his health, and that he must just spend his time at home. I'm joined by two guests. Firstly, Mzwanele Manyi from the Jacob Zuma Foundation. He's the spokesperson, but also legal expert Mpumelelo Zikalala, who are going to help us wade through these issues. Mzwanele Manyi, firstly, welcome to our program. Thank you for your time today.
Good morning, Bongani, and good morning to all your listeners and the fellow panelists.
This is obviously news you welcome.
Well, most definitely. We're now going to have a man that was incarcerated without trial, a man that did not qualify for the appeal, a man that did not get an opportunity to mitigate his sentence, indeed, in total violation of the Constitution. So to say a man like that must now go home and look after his grandchildren, it's a development that is welcome. Of course, there will be fine print. We can deal with that later. But for now, we celebrate the moment.
Talking of fine print, I mean, we can delve into some of the issues you've raised and debate them till the cows come home. But as far as medical parole is concerned, those considerations should not come into it. It should be purely about his state of health. We don't know as the public what is wrong with the former president. Do you have any sympathy with the perspective that says, hang on, with so much opaqueness around this, people's eyebrows are going to be raised?
Look, what we have got to be accustomed to in South Africa is that when it comes to President Zuma, starting with the Constitutional Court, they say normal procedures don't apply. So the issue of waiving President Zuma's rights is something that particularly media has inculcated into the South African society, as it were. So indeed, people that are raising eyebrows, it is because they've had very good media training. But the important thing here is that President Zuma has met the criteria, and there are three criteria that are normally considered before such a decision is taken. And so one of the three actually applies to him. You must remember, part of those eyebrows, people are talking about Jabir Sheikh and all of that. Jabir Sheikh was a terminally ill. It was a category. I don't know which category President Zuma has been put in, but one of them is terminally ill. One of them is to be physically incapacitated. One of them is an illness that severely limits his daily activity or self-care. Any of the above, once the medical people make a determination that any of the three is applicable, then they take the particular decision that they've taken. So we are sitting here as the recipients of a process that was in the first place initiated by the system. President Zuma, just for the record, President Zuma did not apply for medical parole. It's the system that generated it because of the situation that the system was facing.
It's a system that is also being run by one of his closest allies, a man who's been with the former president, implicated in a lot of the state capture allegations, but also the fact that the former president is not open about what may be wrong with him. Surely, in many ways, if we all knew what was wrong, that might actually win him the support and sympathy which you would say he needs.
No, what you are saying is totally incorrect. Number one, I think you are insulting the doctors that made a recommendation. Whoever took the decision, if it's the commissioner that took the decision, he did not initiate the decision by himself. He was sitting there in his office, and people that are trained in medical space made that kind of a determination, and they made a decision. And it's not him that decides that it's my decision. The system says when this happens, this position in the hierarchy is a position that must make a decision. But
with respect,
reservations. Can I just make this point? The fact that you have a reservation about a particular individual who has not been tried and determined corrupt or anything is your own baggage. So don't bring your baggage into a normal situation where government officials are doing their job. You are now
but we don't know if they're doing their job. That's the problem, Mzwanele Manyi. We don't know if they're doing their job. The parole system is not open. It's not open to scrutiny. We don't know the reports. Hold on, let me finish my point. We don't know what informs this decision. They basically are just saying, trust us. We don't have to account to you. We don't have to tell you. It's not open to contestation. We don't know who the experts that made this decision, nor what information they had.
Let me tell you what you're not going to have. Let me tell you with all the English that you can bring. Let me tell you what you're not going to have. What you're not going to have, we're not going to allow a situation where the medical detail of President Zuma is made a public what have you. If you do not trust the doctors that are in the system, then it's your problem. Fire the doctors if you don't trust them that are in the system. Because this is, as I say, the system-generated thing by government processes themselves. Now, if you don't trust government, fire this government and then get a government that you can trust. But what we're not going to have is the fact that because we don't trust this government, we're not going to have a situation where President Zuma's health is laid out there for everyone to see. You are sitting there, Bongani, right now. I don't know what are your ailments, and that's not my business. Now, but you want President Zuma to go and tell you blow by blow what he's suffering from and all of this. Why?
If you were any other prisoner, you wouldn't care?
The fact that you're a prisoner does not limit your rights. Your rights as an inmate. This is why the Correctional Services has taken this kind of a decision to allow him to go even to SA Military Hospital. Is because when you are there, it's a correctional facility. It's not a punishment facility. They are there to make sure that whoever is there is rehabilitated, if that needs rehabilitation and all of that, and that includes his health. It's not a place to go and kill people. So if you are hoping that President Zuma is going to die in jail, sorry for you. He's going to be alive and so on. And the medical people are taking all the precautions, all the necessary decisions to ensure that his life is preserved. And we welcome that.
When last did you speak to him?
The lawyers have spoken to him last week or so. So up to now, they've been the only people that really had contact with him.
Yeah.
We get information from our lawyers.
All right. Mzwanele Manyi, appreciate your time. Zuma Foundation Spokesperson.
Current events, developing stories,
tough questions.
Your voice making a difference.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa.